believe we should focus on becoming the strongest nation we possibly can. One, we're importing about 595,000 barrels of oil from Russia every single year. Since we shut down the Keystone Pipeline. That means that we are funding a war against a peaceful nation, that we are funding the first invasion of another nation in about 70 years to actually gain territory. And so when you start looking at what's going on in Ukraine, you realize this is a direct result of a weak America. When America is weak, the rest of the world feels like, oh, there's no enforcer, we're going to do whatever we want. And not that I want America to be the police of the world, but I do want us to be the strong man on the street to where the rest of the world is terrified because they know that we would destroy them if they were to step out of line. But unfortunately, that's not where we are now. And so I believe the greatest thing that we can do is to create a strong America moving forward to where our economic sanctions aren't just debilitating, but completely crippling to their entire economy.
What do you think is, or is it even possible, is there a way to, let's say, sanction Russia or to punish them in some other capacity without having them move closer in alignment with China?
Well, yes, when you start thinking about it, you have Belarus, you have Mongolia, you have China, you have so many nations that are really butting up right close to Russia that are supporting them. And the whole thing that I am actually considering now is when you look at the treaty, the Versailles Treaty after World War I, it basically put Germany in a position where they had to go to war because they were in such a terrible economic situation because of the sanctions that they were having to face. And I'm afraid that if we continue to add these on, this is a question for, it's going to require a significant amount of strategy from our foreign policy experts. But if we continue to pile these sanctions on Russia, then I believe what would just be barring them from saying, well, let's just keep taking territory. We're going to have a bad economy if we don't, but you can fund a lot of territory by just robbing the rest of the world of their treasure.
So do you foresee like any possibility where that doesn't happen? Like, how can we like restrain Putin and at the same time not have that happen?
I believe the best way to restrain Putin, one, is to continue to enforce our NATO allies. Not enforce, but continue to reinforce our NATO allies. And I believe Donald Trump did an incredible job of making sure that our allies within NATO started paying their fair share into the system. To where it makes a lot of sense for us to be continuing that cooperation. But another thing I believe is we have got to support Taiwan. I believe this is just a sneak peek of what's going to be happening to Taiwan in the next few weeks. And so I'm pretty isolationist when it comes to the rest of the world. But I do believe that we need to realize that the big problems that are facing America are not your gender pronouns. It's not the difference in the Black Lives Matter movement versus Antifa, all of these ridiculous things. This is just what happens when our country doesn't have a true enemy. And the people have just started fighting one another. But we do have a true enemy out there. China is trying to destroy our entire nation. I mean, you look at the way that they're using the algorithms for TikTok in North America, and it's encouraging people to, learn a TikTok dance to go viral, to get a lot of likes and shares. But if you look at how they're using their algorithm in China, they're focusing on making sure that their young men and young women are focusing on STEM and all their mathematics, all their engineering. They're focusing on eloquent speaking, being able to rally people, and heroism and being strong. And so you realize that this is our true enemy. And so I genuinely believe that, instead of giving $86 billion worth of weaponry to the Taliban, we should have given $86 billion worth of weaponry to Taiwan so that they could defend. I mean, they just had 9 Chinese aircraft go into their air defense zone. And so I believe that we need to focus that these are our true enemies. We need to be very Machiavellian on the way that we go against them, and we need to destroy them in every single way that we can with the minimal loss of blood.
Por último, recuerde que desde